What's happening, guys? It's been a long time. I know I took a lot of break. I am really not so cool. Okay. Anyway, let's get this Eloquent started off. So here we are in Eloquent, Laravel's Eloquent version 5.2. At the time it is July 12th. Anyway, so I'll give you a basic quick intro to Eloquent so you can continue with whatever projects you are going to be handling. And I know you are since we are talking about Eloquent, we are going to be learning from the scratch, because this course is to those students. I would like to call you as a student, because you're taking a fresher beginner course to Laravel. Anyway, so yeah, here we are. In the last video we just had a look at database migrations, right? So here we have database migrations. So this is all the migrations that we have. Maybe if there is any discrepancy between this video and the previous video, just bear with me, because it's not going to be a hassle. Just in case if there is any discrepancy, I'll be explaining it. So yeah, so let's get this thing started off. So the first thing that you need to know in Eloquent is actually what we're doing. Eloquent ORM is what it is called as, Eloquent Object Relational Mapping. So what is this? What's happening here is basically with Eloquent we are converting everything to be used as a class. What I mean by everything getting converted into a class, well, let me just explain with a proper context. So yeah, of course we are learning a new thing, so we need to get more open with the command line interface. So yeah, so let's get this thing started. cd, I'm already in my Laravel project folder, so let's create something called as a model. This is something new. Let's try it out. What's this? So it's actually PHP artisan make model, right? And now you specify the name of the model that you want to create. Since we want to actually populate articles, right? We have an articles table, I believe, from the last video we picked up. Yeah, so here is the articles table. Why not create a model for the articles table? So you'll get to have a better understanding once we get this thing done. So PHP artisan make model, a capital, block letter A, article. See, a model is something that is going to make everything to be used as a class. So this has a specific naming convention, that is, whatever is the name of your table, in this case the name of the table is articles, right, plural. So you have to make it singular. That is the first rule. And the second rule is that the first letter needs to be an uppercase. So this is the second rule. So with this in mind, you can actually make everything to be used as a class. Okay, so PHP artisan make model, and if I just say the name of the model, which is article, and if I just say enter, so yeah, it says model created successfully. Let's go and check it out. If you go, where is it going to go? There's no special folder for models here. It's going to be inside the app directory, and inside that we have, voila, a new model. And by default user model is present the moment you install Laravel, so don't worry about that. However, this article model is something that we created. Now it is using model here. Let's not worry about everything. I don't want to go in deep here. So anyway, let's get this thing running. This is obviously the namespace, and this is what we are using. Okay, so what we are doing is basically with this model we are converting everything to a class. What do I mean? It's actually simple. So with this in place, we can actually create a page to make an article. Let's get that thing going, right? Since this is no way concerned about building Bootstrap, this is not really I'll not be focusing anything. In fact, I'm going to be completely zero on CSS at this point. So anyway, let's get a view created, right? Let me create a new directory, and I'll say actually new folder, right? I'll say, you know, articles. Now inside this, let me create one file. Let me just say new file, and I would call it article dot index dot, oh, let's make it index, right? Why do we need article? Index dot blade dot php. Okay, so great. Here we have this article, and this is the index page. Let me just duplicate this once again. So, you know, this is going to be called as the create page, right? Okay, so here we have two pages, and you know, let's come to the controller side, right? Let's come to the controller where it's going to be inside HTTP controllers. I'm just doing it really slow because I want you to just recall whatever we have been doing. And here we have the controllers, right? Now if I, for that matter, let me just set up a route first, right? This thing really is not useful anyway. Let me just come down. We don't care anyway. So yeah, route, right, get, and if I just say article, right, article, let's say articles slash create, right, and I want this to be pointing to another controller. Let's call it articles controller, which is not still created, but anyway I'm going to create. Let me just make it articles controller. Okay, articles controller, and we are going to reference the create method. Okay, great. So let's just get that you know, controller set up. Of course it's going to be PHP artisan make controller. We have named it articles controller, right? Let me just hit enter. Now we have this new controller ready. Now here is where the magic comes in, and this route is registered. So let's get creating, right? Let's get into action. So the first thing is we need to create an article, correct? An article basically has, first of all, an article basically has a title, a body, right? These are the two fields that we are going to worry about at this point. Let's get that thing running. So basically, let me go to create, okay, and let me just make a form. I'll just grab a bootstrap form. So yeah, it's, you know, version 4 bootstrap, alpha version is already ready. Anyway, here we go. Let me just grab this thing just like that and paste it here, right? Not to worry too much. Let's just make this thing label. Let's not worry about all that. Title, input type is going to be a text, and we'll give it a name of title. See, we are basically doing form activity simultaneously, okay? So don't worry about all that. Actually, I'm directly going into the scene without actually doing 100 steps. Okay, so here I am going to just name this thing title, and I am going to make this thing as not password, let's make it body, right? And I'll just say type as a text area. Actually, if it's got to be a text area, let's make it a text area. Right, and we'll now give this a name of body. Okay, we don't want anything else except the submit button. So yeah, so we are having this thing set up. Okay, body text area. Let's look at how this thing looks. Okay, so let's go to our route, articles controller route, and first of all, let me just make function, public function create, right? And okay, so in this create, what we're doing is basically returning. Let's first at this point return the view. Return view. See, this is not something new. This is all whatever you have learned. And obviously, if you want to return the view, you got to put it in the right position, right? So let's make it return view articles dot, and I'm trying to create it. So yeah, articles dot create, because it's inside this create. It's inside this articles folder, and it's called create. So I'm just saying articles dot create, and let's go give it a shot and see. The route is articles slash create, and let me not forget to serve it. You know what? Let me just do a quick hack. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open another instance of the console, so I don't keep trying to serve every time I make a change. Okay, cd, it's inside wamp /www, and I've named it test project. Okay, so let's just say php artisan serve. Boom. Okay, so yeah, we have served this thing, and this is going to be our helper console. Anyway, so yeah, localhost 8000, and let me go to articles and create. Voila! Like I said, I am not doing anything CSS, so don't scold me, because this is not a CSS tutorial. Anyway, yeah, so we got this thing up and running. Haha, beautiful, right? You probably are thinking this guy is insane. However, yeah, so yeah, we've got this thing running, and you know what I'm trying to do? I am trying to submit a form, right? And if I have to try to submit a form, I need to specify where this form is going to give its values. So I'm telling form action, and don't ask me what is this. This is coming from the HTML. Just in case you don't know what is this, go back and read that HTML book. Oh, you don't want to read that book anyway. Go check W3 Schools. That's the latest thing, right? Or maybe when you watch this video, maybe something else has come. Anyway, that's not my point of concern. So this action is coming basically from HTML, which you already know. So form action post, let's just say articles, right? And let me just submit it to submit route, correct? Okay, so this is going to go to articles / submit route. So let's set that thing up also. So route get articles submit, right? And this is going to go to the submit method. Okay. Okay. Now here is the cool thing. We are trying to actually submit a form, but you know what happens in Laravel if you just try to submit? Well, what is going to happen is it's going to say, hey you, okay, let me just show this thing to you. Okay, so we've got this thing done, Let me just click on the submit here, and it says so many issues. Don't worry about all this. Submit title and body. Let's make it, instead of a get, let's make it a post method. So good. So we got this thing running right now. All we have to do is insert. But how do I insert it into the database? How do I perform the actual database operations? Now here is where we start to use Eloquent. Okay, now let me create another function, right? Don't worry too much. Let me create another function inside the controller, public function, and I'll call this submit. Okay, submit, and let's open that up. Now in the submit function, I'm going to pass some strange weird things that you don't know, but just bear with me. Request, $request. Okay, what is this request, $request? Okay, so let me just tell you what is this request. Basically, this request is a variable that contains all the data submitted from the form. It's as simple as that. Don't worry too much about what is this request, and if you go and look at the documentation, sometimes it's really overwhelming if you're a beginner, especially when you don't have proper PHP context. In fact, when I started off, it was really a big struggle for me to understand what this request is. But basically, in this most simplest terms, this request is a variable that contains this title field, this body field, which is submitted by this form to the submit route. Okay, which is again pointing towards the submit method. Alright, so just for the sake of testing, you know what I'll do? I'll say return $request, and I want to return all the fields. Okay, $request all. Now the moment I say all, what's going to happen is it's going to pump out both the name and the body. Let's go and check it out. So let me just reload the create route, and I'll say this is the title, and we'll say body, this is the body, and if I hit submit, voila, something wrong happened, and that is method not allowed exception. So it says article submit method is not allowed. What's going on? You know what is going on, guys? It says method not allowed. You know what method is this guy talking about? This guy is telling method from the form post method is not allowed on submit articles. What is that? Look at this. This is the route that we created, and we are telling get method is articles/submit. But in reality, what are we doing? We are telling, we are passing the data via the post method. Just to prove you that it works, I'll make it get. Okay, and let me just try to reload it. This, okay, why all that? Submit. Look at this. Voila, we got this title and the body. And since this is a get method, we have the variables coming in the URL, and sometimes when you keep a very lengthy body, this is not such a great idea. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to go back and make it a post, and here I'm going to make it another post. So magic is going to happen. What magic? Check this out. We'll say 8080 body, some junk. Now this is the random junk I always type, and I hope you also type when you're testing. Anyway, just go and click on submit. Voila, we got this error again. Like I said in the beginning itself, it's going to throw an error, and this is the error. It says token mismatch exception. And guys, this is a quick tip. You know what I'll do, just in case if I get an error on Laravel? It's as simple, or for that matter, any programming fault I get, I don't break my head. I'll just say this. Okay, let's not take that 67, and I'll just say search Google. This is something you already know, but still I'm going to tell you just in case you don't know. Alright, now here I'm going to grab we got the salt. I like the salt in the beginning itself, so that kind of attracts me. And I'm sure I know what the issue is. It's missing the CSRF token, and the CSRF token is this. What is the CSRF token? Well, let me just copy this and paste it in my form here. Okay, so what this does is basically, let me not go in depth because I truly honestly I don't know what is that in depth, but I know that CSRF token is a token that is used for security purposes, just in case any black hat, just in case anyone wants to try to creep on you, or anyone wants to just mess around with you. This CSRF token is a small level of protection, so that is why it's used. So let's try again. So if I just go back to articles create, and let me enter my lovely gibberish text that I try to and hope to love, which mostly I'm unsuccessful of. And if I just hit submit, voila, we got this token, and we got the title, and we got the body. So far so good. We have understood forms, right? We have understood what is something called as a CSRF token. We have understood the action needs to go to a particular route, which then redirects to a particular method on a particular controller. So far we have understood one part of the basic. This is in fact not even relevant to Eloquent so far. Just in case you don't know how to implement a form, this is how you can implement a form in Laravel. And look, I'm not a huge fan of Laravel Collective, so I think I know most of you want to battle with me regarding this, but you know what? I'm not going to battle with you. You are always right. No doubt Laravel Collective is the best. Sometimes I use it in my project, sometimes I don't, because I'm not a huge fan of it. You'll not see me using Laravel Collective. So yeah, that is why I just showed you a raw HTML form, right? Okay, so coming back to our controller, we just returned request all. And by the way, if you notice, this is a JSON response. Laravel is a very interesting framework which by default results to give you a JSON token, JSON response, which can be used by a lot of things. Okay, anyway, now the magic's going to happen. What's the magic? The magic is the use of Eloquent. What is that? Okay, so let me say use app, right? And do you remember in the beginning itself we created something called as a model, and we called it article. It's going to be residing inside the app directory. Yeah, sure, maybe, who knows, because of my talking and ranting and rambling probably you forgot. But anyway, so use app article, right? So I added this line. So you know what, we are accessing the article model inside this articles controller. What is the big deal about that? Well, here is the big deal about that. Now we want the data to be actually stored in the database, right? Right now if I just try to reload my articles table, definitely nothing is inserted in my table. It's an empty table, right, for articles. So let's make this Eloquent into action. So what I'll do, I'll say article $article equals. Now what should I do? It's basically it's going to be a new article. Notice this. This is like a huge magic. Just in case if you are wondering what is this, see, we are creating a new instance of the article class. Whoa, what is this class? Like I said in the beginning itself, Eloquent is used to create a class. So that's what is happening here. So article, this variable is an instance of the article class. Oh, Rakshit, where are we creating the class? You know what, my friend? We created that here. The moment you initialize a model, automatically Laravel behind the scenes is going to make it a class. So this is the first thing that we are doing. So we are telling article is a new class. I'm sorry, new variable of the article class. Now what we are trying to say, we want to reference. Let's go and check our database first. So article, right? Let's go and check out the structure. We have the name, the content. Oh, okay. So what is the corresponding change I should say? Actually, what I should do, I should make it name and content. Okay. Database fields should exactly match. Let me just change it here. It's not going to be title, it's again name itself, and here is going to be content. What a naming convention. Wow. It's funny and it's ridiculous, but however, just for the sake of explanation, I don't care what is the naming convention, what is I don't care. So anyway, so basically I just renamed it to match the exact name that is present inside the table. So name table and the content. So that is the thing that is present in the database. So now here this article has so many other instances, so many other fields, and one such field is, because it is an article class, it is going to have name. Okay, and this is going to be equal to request. Tell me guys, think about it. What is it going to be equal to? It is going to be equal to the data that is coming from the request, right? So I'll say request name. I hope you get this line. Anyway, once again, article has one more field that needs to be filled in, right? And what is that field? Think about it. The field is what we just saw in the database. So it is content, right, equals the value from the request variable. Which part of it? The content part of it, right? So it's the content part of it. Super cool. We are just telling this new variable contains the value from the name. The name parameter of the new variable contains the name parameter from the request variable, and we are also telling the article parameter for the the content parameter for the article variable contains the content parameter from the request variable. So far so good. Now there is one more cool thing that's going to happen. That is, now that you have just saved, said it's going to be equal, but we are not committing it to the database, or in other words, in Laravel terms, it is called as persisting to database. We are not just adding it to the database. How do we add? Simple. Guys, Laravel is a lovely framework. It's amazing. It reduces your job so much less to such a small extent. Don't have to worry. So that is, there's a method, right? There's a method because of Eloquent. So here, without Eloquent, the save wouldn't have worked. So article save. So what is this going to happen? What is this going to do? It's going to save. Are you kidding me, Rakshit? No, I'm not kidding you. It's equivalent to insert into query that you would be using. You want me to prove it to you? Well, let's go and check it out. Okay. Great. Now let's go and check it out. Let me just close whatever I don't want except the tab that I want. Okay, articles. Anyway, it's not there. So yeah, so create. We are in the create route, and I'll say this is a proper title. Okay, and now I'll give it a body. Why not just copy the body? I'm so lazy. Okay, good. So this is the body. So, and if I just hit submit, there's nothing. But if we go and check out our database, Voila! So here is our first entry. I'm not satisfied. Let me just create another one. Okay, good. If you're not satisfied, why not go and create another one? Let's, since we are huge fans of Laravel documentation, why not just copy and paste it? Okay, so pasting, right? And if I just hit submit, woo, you see that? This, my dear friend, wouldn't have happened without Eloquent. You know what? I think this video is getting really lengthy, and I don't want to eat your head. Of course, I'm not a cannibal. Anyway, so I'm going to cut this video at this point, and maybe in the next session, of course, not maybe, in the next session we are going to explore the part 2 of Eloquent, where we deal with, querying and things of that nature. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and share, because you know what, I'm going to put out more content, and I think people will like my stuff. Oh, hopefully. Oh, is that a brag? I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys.